LAPD is group stalking, monitoring me on the internet while I'm creating Apple ID, and it is disabling my ability to create that account. And this is what they're doing, amplifying helicopter activity every time that I create it. So on my MacBook, blocking my ability to create that. This is what they're doing. They're group stalking in real time, crossing over, flying over my apartment every time I go to create the account. They're engaging in what is, first of all, this is demonic activity. This is criminal surveillance, and they're engaging in federal stalking on the venue of the internet. In addition to LAPD flying over and doing so with simultaneity to what they are reviewing, this is your private information that's made public. So it's the same thing when Speaker Companies is emailing how much I'm going to be paid annually for my job. This is the same thing when I am reviewing the social security numbers of third-party group stalkers who are monitoring. This is my work email. All of this information, which is a means of public information. So let me show you how Speaker Companies, the people of the state, and the Los Angeles Police Department are engaged in the criminal maintenance of information in violation of existing HUD housing policies while they're group stalking. First of all, Emiko is a third-party group stalker who's documented engaging in the act of terrorism. She's crossing path, and she engages in the documented terrorism engineer light moving all across building 1818. In addition to that, Speaker Companies and the LAPD that are engaging in federal stalking, they are violating HUD housing. These are federal laws that are outlawing the ability to have social security numbers, the private identifying information on the, while you of not only federal housing applicants, which is what Emiko is. She's coming to monitor me, but she is coming to apply for low-income housing at the community. She's monitoring me in violation of Title 18, and the state that's engaging in monitoring, and by the way, Emiko cannot consent to the state of California's criminal engagement in a pattern of conduct where you are engaged in federal stalking, which is simultaneously violating the federal housing laws, while the social security numbers and the private information of an applicant such as Emiko is dispersed amongst the entity that's engaging in what is federal stalking. So I want to be clear, this is how you're understanding how they are simultaneously violating the private information, privacy information, social security numbers, and all that. This is well within what I'm doing on a daily basis, and this is information that they are also criminally sharing amongst themselves while they're all looking at my phone, monitoring what's on my phone. Right now, the LAPD is group stalking, and they're doing so in concert with the demons that are surrounding me. So while I'm inside of my apartment, these demons are engaging in what is noise creation. So as I'm, for example, entering in my phone, my information, and then creating, pressing continue to proceed with creating an Apple account, at the same time, this is what Universal Waste was doing this morning. This demon was doing it while outwardly appearing to be focused on emptying the dumpster, but they're doing it in the specific environment. That demon that does not have to be facing you or near you knows what you're doing, not only physically, but in relevant position while they're in the specific environment and on a communication device. This is demonic. That's a demon flying a Los Angeles Police Department helicopter. And they are so petty and pathetic. They are just stopping my ability, trying to stop my ability to create an Apple account. I'm not even documenting using it. This is how obsessively consumed with any and everything that I am doing. These are the demons that are part of LAPD. This is what the federal government needs to know that a police department is consumed with. They're not out there fighting crime in the streets. They are stalking and engaging in surveillance, monitoring somebody who's creating an Apple account for my MacBook that I just bought last week. That's what they're consumed with. Okay, while I am documenting very serious federal offenses that they're engaged with, that's what they're consumed with right now. Okay, they're engaging with simultaneity. So when I'm documenting this morning, the entity that is a text message, not this morning, Maria Solis Alvarez sending me a text message talking about thanks with a smiley face. While the entity sends that text message, at the same time, LAPD is amplifying helicopter activity, stalking, amplifying. This is Maria Solis, a demon, a passive aggressive psychopath who's a sex offender monitoring me inside of the private space and is showing hostility while the demons here stalking me in helicopter are communicating that threat while monitored. This is how the demons act together. That ongoing simultaneity of conduct is a pattern. It's not an ongoing coincidence. It's the P.O.C. They're engaged in federal stalking, and they do so while the entity engages in texting me or calling me. The entity that's stalking in helicopter acts in concert with that. They're engaged in surveillance on phones, on internet, on communication devices. They are simultaneously violating relevant federal laws regarding private identifying information of third parties. Well, they are third parties that are applying for housing, that are federal housing recipients. While you're looking at that stalker flying over in helicopter, this is what the entity was doing, blocking my ability to create the Apple account both on my MacBook, stating after I go through and fill out this form, it says your account can't be created at this time. That's monitoring. And the entity is doing so as I use a different communication device. Now that I'm using my phone, they're engaging in that same obstruction while they fly over, which is amplification, relevant positioning. And the demons that are inside of building 1806, these demons, these are psychopaths. These are all the ones that they're going into mental facilities and they're going to federal prison. These demons are jointly engaged in invasion of privacy. They are the sex offenders that I'm exposing you as. The entity engaged in what is the maintenance of the specific environment all day long, engaging in what it's, so you're stalking and you are literally sitting around in a helicopter waiting to fly over pursuant to real-time knowledge of any and everything that I'm doing on an ongoing basis. Those sex offenders who may very well have a wife and minor children are engaging in what are surveillance of every time I pull my panties down and very closely monitoring that, engaging in what is the ongoing maintenance of activity creation while they're aware that I'm physically indisposed, engaging in what is psychotic, demonic activity. You see them flying around in circles. They're monitoring. This is the pattern of conduct that they're engaging in while my panties are down, maintaining focus on what I'm doing in the engineered light. That's the sex offender that has access to minor children. I don't know when they're ever these demons must be engaging in shifts to engage in stalking as an entity. That's the Los Angeles Police Department is devoted to criminal surveillance of my apartment and my office here at this property. And that's the reality of what's going on. And this is the devotion of an entire police department to one person. And all I'm doing is creating an Apple account. That's the reality of and showing the psychotic and obsessive criminal system. These are demons. This criminal conduct doesn't even make any sense. I mean, stalking is already abnormal. It's born of obsession, but you're talking about, I'm not even documenting a video. I'm capturing a video now, but I'm creating it so that I'm just going to download something onto my onto my MacBook. Like, it's not a part of the documentation. You're talking about just wanting to, the demon possessed are so hostile. They're so obsessed. They're so psychotic. I don't want you to create an Apple account. I don't want you to get access to this website. I don't want you to watch this video. I don't want you to enjoy listening to this song. I'm not exaggerating. This is exactly what they're doing. Okay. And this is a police department that should have important things to do. They're stalking. That's all they're doing. And the demons that fill this apartment building, let me be clear, all 59 units, they're engaging in all the same thing. The demons are stalking with amplified audible activity. I'm hearing boom, boom, boom. This is what that demon was doing, universal ways, using the dumpster as a means of stalking with that audible activity. So as I'm pressing something on the screen, all right, as I go to another screen, as I progress on the boom at the same time, okay? This is how you're affecting the communication device. You're learning what monitoring is. And it's not a malfunction. There's no genuine failures. You're learning what monitoring on the video of the internet is. It affects your operation of your communication device. It affects your internet and the ability to access internet. And you're also learning what are superficial obstacles with regard to whatever you may be doing online while you're subject to federal stalking. Okay, that's P.O.C. That's the sex offender. That real-time knowledge, that's relevant to my bank account. Everybody knows my bank account. Everybody knows my credit card numbers. Everybody knows my driver's license number. Everybody knows what's going on when I'm on the DMV site. You already know that DMV is a group stalker. That's the state of California that's monitoring, capturing the specific environment. By the way, that's indicative of the whole state. Okay, but I've captured more than one state facilitating venue, not only the DMV, but the San Bernardino Human Services Department, that's San Bernardino County group stalking. When you're documenting the police, when you're documenting the sheriff's department, that's indicative of the whole state, by the way. When you're documenting a courthouse, that's documenting the whole state, by the way. This is an entity that's engaged in corporate invasion of privacy. That's a sex offense. The entity is engaged in what is ongoing private information is spread among all of my private information is public amongst the demon-possessed entity. And you're going to prosecute for that. And while it's happening in the workplace, you're going to also prosecute for the housing laws that they're violating while they're keeping me under surveillance in the workplace. And I'm also going to prosecute for the fact that I'm subject to that surveillance in the workplace. I'm going to prosecute for every aspect of that crime. Those psychopaths that, like I said, they're wearing diapers and they're taking shifts because they don't want me to open an Apple account. This is how pathetic the Los Angeles Police Department are. They're demons. They are puppets of Satan, and they're obsessed with someone whom they must know that they're inferior to me. They must know that. That's the only reason why you're stalking me as a whole police department, a whole department. Okay, it's currently 6:53 p.m. This is how pathetic. This is the reality, and this is the true posture of the those that want to maintain an appearance in the public as though they are someone. No, they know that they are actually very small. They are actually consumed with something that you need to wake up to, because there's more than the natural that's going on. You've got demons affiliated with police departments that are stalking little old me. Little old me. Okay, so they're speaking. That's speaking to something that you need to be aware of, and it's the reality of what is spiritually going on. But besides that, I'm going to prosecute for that. That level of being so pathetic and petty is criminal. It is highly criminal, and very threatening that you would be so obsessed and consumed to that degree. That's a violent sex offender. That's a freak weirdo that has guns. They have weapons. They're flying helicopters, and they're stalking me. P.O.C.